All right, so they called the list and we're not getting a game just yet, but we have a challenger, a heads-up challenger, the Lord of the Aria, as he calls himself. We're going to play for a little bit. Let's see what happens. Good luck to us.
Alright guys, starting off the day with a little heads up action while we wait for the game to fill. This is my buddy Joe. Played a lot with him at the Aria. Very good player, very nice kid. But we're going to play a little heads up while we wait for the game to fill. There's players on the way, but we're just killing time for 10-15 minutes. After about 10 minutes or so, I'm down a couple of $100. Things not going so well. Before picking up pocket queens in our penultimate hand of heads up, I've actually straddled on the button. Look down at queens. He's got ace king, and we're going to get it all in for a pot worth around about 2.6k. I frantically try and pick up my camera and zoom in, and I don't focus on the board. It's the blurriest run out of all time. It comes down king high and no queen on the turn, no queen on the river, and just like that, I am down $1,500 after 15-20 minutes. Whose stupid idea was this to play it heads up? The game is going to start properly not long after this. We're starting five-handed with one non-pro, one potential non-pro, and a couple of grinders, myself included. First hand of note, I've got Jack 6 of clubs in the straddle. Cutoff is going to raise it on up to $60. Button is going to make the call, and versus two regs, I fold my Jack 6 here, but versus these two guys, I'm happily making the call. We go three ways to the flop. It comes down 5-4 deuce with two diamonds, one club. I've got a very reasonable candidate to lead out with here. I've got that gut shot. I've got the backdoor flush draw. I also unblock queen, king, and ace high hands that might have to just fold, so I bet out for $60. Cutoff is going to get out the way. Button is going to stick around to make the call, though. Turn is a jack. Really good turn card to give me top pair. I bet again for $200. And my opponent fairly quickly moves all in. Asks the dealer for a very quick count. It's 465 total. I'm, of course, making the call. Unfortunately for me, he's got queen jack offsuit. This is a bit of a nasty one. No help to me on the river, and I am stuck 2.1k after about 25 minutes of grinding. This is not the best of starts, but it's early. Let's just keep it going. Next up, I've got Jack 8 offsuit in the small blind. I raise it on up to $60. Not standard, but the straddle is the recreational player. He is going to defend his straddle, and we go heads up to the flop. It's king, king, 9 rainbow. I bet out for $40. Standard stuff. He is going to make the call. I'm only going to continue to barrel if I pick up equity on the turn, and the offsuit 10 is about as good as can be. I definitely want to keep betting now. I bet out for $150. Again, though, my opponent is going to make the call. Looking for some help, but it is a 9 on the river. And I decide to wave the white flag here. I check it on over to my opponent. He is loading the gun. Little does he know I'm snap folding. But then he bows his head and checks. And I'm like, okay, maybe I win here. Maybe I beat a hand like pocket deuces. But he's got ace 9 for a full house. That's not the sign of a good game when non-pros are checking back full houses. But yeah, another pot not going my way. And I am really struggling here, but no matter, the grind goes on. Next up, I've got queen 10 of clubs in the cutoff. I raise it on up to $50. My buddy Joe is going to call out the straddle, and we go heads up to 8-7 deuce with 2 hearts, 1 diamond. He is going to check it on over to me, and I'd much rather have a flush draw or a backdoor flush draw, but queen 10 has got enough backdoor straight draw ability, so I bet out for $80. Fairly quick call from my opponent, and we see a king roll off on the turn. I'm going to bet a lot of king X on the flop, and he's not going to call a lot of king X, which means this is a good turn for my range, so I see no reason not to keep betting. I fire again, this time for $210, hoping to take it down, but again, my opponent is going to make the call. Rivers and offsuit 3, complete brick. And he checks it on over to me once more. Should we just check this one back? I don't think so. I think we want to bluff this hand. So I bet out for $500 on the river, hoping my opponent can just fold. He shakes his head, but then he is going to make the call. I say you win, and he turns over pocket jacks. Now, as the dealer is pushing him the pot, he looks at me and says, hey, Gary, was that a bad call? And I very Scottishly say, mate, you can't ask me that when you're dragging in the pot. Come on. I didn't mean to sound as Scottish as I did. I was momentarily irked by this player asking for advice on the hand after he was scooping in my money. Nothing malicious from my opponent. He's a lovely young guy, and he is dragging in this pot. I'm down 3.4k for this session, but maybe that's going to change when I look down at pocket queens in the hijack. I raise it on up to $30 because the player who's supposed to be in the straddle has forgotten to straddle again. Anyway, cutoff is going to make it $110 to go. He's a very nice guy, but he's the only player who has politely declined the straddle, which there's nothing wrong with that, of course, but it does give an insight into how this player is likely to be playing. There's a bit of a tell he's going to be a bit tighter. With that in mind, I decide to just call the 3-bet. I don't want to 4-bet here versus a tighter player. I make the call. We see the flop come down 7-7-5 with 2 clubs. Decent flop for pocket queens. I check it on over to my opponent, and he fires out $130 as a c-bet. Not going anywhere, not raising, not folding. I, of course, make the call. Turn is an offsuit 3, nothing changes. And he bets again, this time for $385. Pretty big c-bet on the flop, pretty big c-bet on the turn. Not loving life here, but definitely not folding queens just yet on the turn. I go ahead and make the call. River is a 9. I check it on over to my opponent, hoping he just checks it back with a hand like ace king or pocket jacks or something. But after a few seconds, he actually moves all in for 1.8k. This is really, really gross. Like I said, this dude has been pretty tight, pretty snug so far. So I don't think I'm going to make the call here with the pocket queens. I'm thinking the spot over. I'm trying to get a read on my opponent, but I think this would be a big mistake to call here versus this player. So after a minute or so of thinking, I just let my hand go. One of the other players at the table asked my opponent to show the bluff, and he kind of looks at me almost as if he's looking for approval. I smile, I nod my head. Little does he know, if he turns over a bluff, I'm going to flip the goddamn table. But he's got pocket aces. Really happy to see that, because if he got ace king or something like that, I would have felt like such an idiot. But yeah, my opponent's got aces. I make the folds. And we move on to the next hand. I've got pocket deuces in the hijack. I raise it on up to $50. Big blind is going to make the call. And the flop comes down ace 9 deuce. Let's go. My opponent checks it on over to me, and I bet out for a small size. And yep, you guessed it. He just lets it go. I thought this was going to be the turning point in the day. But alas, my opponent folds. Little hand funeral for the set of deuces before just sending them into the muck. Now, I love playing at the Aria. The staff are great, the dealers are great, there's a great vibe in the room. But today, I'm just not feeling it. You know, I'm down like 4k. I feel like I haven't done much wrong. Sometimes you're just not feeling it. Nothing against the Aria. I love playing here, but I decide to tap the table. My buddy James and I are going to take a walk through the Aria Casino, out into the hot Vegas sun, and then into the Vidara. Absolutely beautiful part of Vegas here, this sort of segment of casinos. Into the Bellagio we go, looking for a new game to play. We put ourselves on the list, but unfortunately the lists are super long. So after a little while of waiting, we decide that we're not going to get into a game here at the Bellagio. So we head across to the Paris Casino to see if we can play some cash games at the World Series of Poker. We're going to get a seat relatively quickly in a 2-5 game. Heading across, taking a seat. It looks like a decent game here. First hand of note, I've got 10-9 of diamonds in the small blind. The cutoff raises to $20, and I put in the re-raise. I make it $90 to go. He is going to make the call here, and we see the flop come down. Ace 8-4 with 2 diamonds. Decent start here with just 10 high. I'm going to bet out for $55, and after a couple of seconds, my opponent makes the call. Turn is an offsuit jack. I've now got a straight draw and a flush draw. And I check it on over to my opponent with some devious intentions here. He is going to take a stab, which is exactly what I wanted. And I check jam for around $650 more. My opponent actually smiles and says that he was just messing around. That's normally a sign that he's going to fold, but he hasn't released his cards yet. He starts fidgeting. He starts looking at me. I'm wondering if this player is about to make a really light hero call here, but eventually he does just let it go. I ask the dealer if we can see the river. It's the ace of spades. I show my 10-9 and say, thank God that you didn't call here. He actually told me that he had king 8, and if he had called there and held versus my mega combo draw, that probably would have been me done for the day, to be honest with you. But yeah, moving across 10 minutes later to the new 5-10 that they've just called for. Really excited to play 5-10 here. The games can be really quite good sometimes. First hand of note, we're playing 4-handed here. And I straddle to let the table know that I am an action player. Small blind is going to raise it on up to $60. Big blind makes the call, and I look down at ace king. Great start here. I'm going to put in the re-raise, of course. I make it $225 to go. Don't need to go massive here in position. Small blind gets out the way, but the big blind makes the call. We go heads up to the flop. It's 7-4-3 rainbow. At this point, I realize that the big blind is quite short stacked. He's got less than a pot size bet behind. So I decide to just move all in, a little bit of protection. Maybe we get called by a hand like ace 5 or ace 6 or something like that. He is going to fairly quickly call. And in my haste to record the run out, I actually accidentally throw my phone into my chip stack. It's nothing to do with the fact that my opponent's got pocket 7s, and I was basically dead on the flop. My opponent is going to win the first hand at this table, and my ace king is no good. Let's reset the profit tracker. I'm down chunks at the Aria today. We'll add it up at the end, but for now, in this casino, I'm down $400. Hopefully, though, that is going to turn around when I look down at pocket kings in the small blind. Early position is raised it on up to $35. Middle position makes the call, and I of course squeeze. I make it $160 to go. Early position is going to make the call, and then middle position must be from Birmingham because he is going to back raise here. He makes it $735 to go. I really wasn't expecting that, to be honest, but I'm happy to see it when I've got pocket kings, so I move all in for around 2k total. And as expected, early position gets out the way. Middle position is gonna make the call here. I say, do you want to go once or twice? He says, let's go twice. He's got ace, king of clubs. Let's see if we can win.
One time.
Chop.
Not gonna lie, I held on the first one and then I held on the second flop. It's a little painful to lose on the turn, but alas, it's gonna just be a chop. Next up, I've got pocket eights on the button. There's been a raise to $30. Middle position makes the call. I make the call as well. Big blind is gonna come along for the ride. We're going multi-way to the flop here, and it comes down 4 deuce deuce rainbow without an 8 on board. That's a relatively decent flop. It's going to check on over to me on the flop, and I take a stab for $60. Middle position is the only player to make the call, and we see a lovely 8 roll off to give me a full house. My opponent checks on over to me, and I think he's going to have a lot of overcard type hands that are just going to fold. So I bet out for $150, just doing everything I can to keep this guy in the pot. Sure enough, it's going to work. He's going to make the call here. River is a 10. My opponent checks it on over to me again, and I decide to bet out for $500, just trying to get a crying call from something. It's gonna work. My opponent is gonna make the call here. I table my full house, and he actually shows me an 8. Really didn't expect him to have an 8 here. I don't know how he's got an 8, but I'll absolutely take it. What a lovely turn card, the last 8 in the deck. And I'm dragging in my first nice pot of the day. It feels like I haven't won many pots today, so this is absolutely lovely. Next up, I've got pocket 7s in the straddle. Middle position is going to raise it on up to $50. I did a couple of calls, and I make the call out the straddle. We go multi-way to the flop here, and it's a really nice queen 10-7 with a flush draw. Lovely bottom set on a wet board. Unfortunately for me, it's just going to check all the way around. Turn is a queen to pair the top card, and the big blind bets out for $100. I hate my decision here to just call. I've had a few beers, I'm a bit merry, I'm having a good time, not really thinking my decisions through. Clear raise here on the turn. I think in game I was thinking, well, if I just call here, somebody's going to raise with a queen, but if I raise here, nobody's folding a queen, obviously. Just not really thinking it through on account of having a few beers. Sure enough, everyone is just going to fold, and we go heads up to the river. It's an offsuit 3. My opponent bets again, this time for $100, and I think he's just going to have a 10 really often, but I've got to try and get paid somehow here with a full house. I raise it on up to $575. Very clear my opponent doesn't have a better full house because he sits back in his chair and he's a little frustrated. He's deep in the tank. He's thinking over his options. I'm hoping he's going to make the call here with a 10. He does make the call. I show my 7s, and he's got queen jack offsuit. This is exactly why I should have raised on the turn. I should be raising to 400 and then like shoving the river or something like that. I've cost myself a lot of money here, but like I say, I've had a few beers. I'm having a good time. Still, this is a nice pot coming my way. I'm up $1,000 for this session and hoping to keep it going. Next up, I've got pocket 5s on the button. Cutoff is raised it on up to $50. I'm going to call here on the button, and then the big blind makes it $250 to go. Cutoff is going to get out the way, and in my last 2 hands with pocket pairs, I flopped 2 sets, so I'm going to make the call here, hoping to go 3 for 3. And what do you know? It comes down 10-6-5 with 2 hearts. I'm a set flopping machine right now, baby. Unfortunately for me, my opponent is going to check on over to me, and we want to use small bet sizes here. I bet out for $175, praying my opponent doesn't fold, but unfortunately, what a waste of a flopped set and a 3-bet pot. He is just gonna let it go. I'm down about 2.7k for the day here, and I shouldn't be down as much as that with all these flop sets. It's just a silly game that we play sometimes. A couple of minutes later, I've got ace-10 of clubs in middle position. Under the gun is gonna limp in, and I'm gonna raise it on out to $80. Small blind is gonna make the call. He's a professional poker player from Atlanta, really nice guy. Middle position is gonna make the call as well. We go 3 ways to the flop. It comes down king 9 deuce rainbow. No pair for me, but it's a decent board for my range, and I'm in position, so I bet out here for $80. Both players are gonna make the call here, and we see the ace of spades roll off on the turn to bring a flush draw. Obviously, it gives me top pair, so I see no reason not to continue betting. I bet out for $350. Small blind is gonna make the call. Middle position is going to get out of the way, and we see another ace roll off on the river. Really nice run out here, ace X, And my opponent doesn't have too much behind. He's got about $800 or so, and I think my hand is strong enough to play for all here. Try and get a crying call from a hand like King Queen or something like that. I move all in. My opponent snap calls. Maybe this isn't good. I turn over my hand, and oh, he's got pocket nines. What a really nasty run out here. I wouldn't have value bet a brick river, but the other ace, I thought, you know what, let's go for all here. Unfortunately for me, my opponent has got a full house, and he is going to drag in a really nice pot. Nice hand to him. I'm going to take a bathroom break not long after this. These beers are going right through me. I've broken the seal, and in order to come back into the game, I'm going to double straddle to $40. I'm going to look down at Queen 5 of clubs as I do so. Button is going to raise it on up to $100. He's a pretty standard pro, shall we say. And I've got a defendable Queen 5 of clubs here for $100. I make the call. We go heads up to the flop. It comes down ace, Queen 4, rainbow, second pair, backdoor straight draw, backdoor flush draw, relatively decent flop. My opponent bets out for $60, and after a few seconds, I make the call. Turn is the 6 of clubs. I've now got that flush draw working for me. I check it on over to my opponent, and he sizes up now to $325. I fake tank for a few seconds, knowing exactly what I'm going to do. I make the call, looking for a queen or a club or a 5 on the river, but it's an offsuit 9, the opposite of what I was looking for. I check it on over to my opponent. After about 30 seconds or so, he fires out a huge bet, and I, of course, snap fold, not calling here with second pair. He's very proud of himself. He wants to show for the vlog. He's got 8-7 of spades. What an absolute sicko. Really nice line by him, but yeah, my second pair not able to call, and another pot going against me. Topping up my stack here to $3,000. I'm down $900 for this session, down about 5k for the day. But the game's pretty good, so I decide to just keep on going. I've got 10-9 offsuit on the button for this next hand. I raise it on up to $60. Straddle is going to make the call here. He's a bit of a loose goose, shall we say. We go heads up to the flop. It comes down ace 10-8 rainbow. I'd see about a hand like king 10 or queen 10, but 10-9, I decide to just check this one back. Turn is a lovely 9 to give me 2 pair. And my opponent bets out for $100 versus this player on this board. I decide to raise. He's going to have a lot of ace-x, and he's probably going to call a lot of ace-x on the brick river. So the risk is worth the reward. Yes, there are a lot of really bad rivers, but if we get a clean one, we get to value bet. So I make it $350 to go. After a few seconds, my opponent is going to make the call. An ace, that's not a clean river. Dealer, come on. Put a deuce out there one time. My opponent checks, I sigh, I check back. He's got ace 7 offsuit. Like I say, a lot of bad rivers. But if a brick had rolled off, I would have won a very nice pot. 25 minutes later, I've got king jack of diamonds in the small blind. The hijack has raised it on up to $60. And I put in the re-raise. I make it $250 to go. Big blind is going to cold call. And we're going to go heads up to the flop here. It comes down 10-5-4 rainbow with 1 diamond. Decent start here. I've got 3 card straight, 3 card flush, so I bet out for $190. I'm not expecting my opponent to fold too much here, and sure enough, he is going to make the call. Turn is the jack of spades to give me top pair, and it's a little hard to get called by worse here. He's going to have a lot of hands like pocket 8s, pocket 9s. Ace queen is just going to fold. These middling pairs are just going to fold, so I check it on over to my opponent. He is just going to check it on back. That gives me license to value bet a clean river. But the queen of spades completes ace king, completes ace queen, completes the backdoor flush, gives me second pair now. Really frustrating. I check it on over to my opponent. He is just going to check it back. I table my hand, and he says that's good. And I'm so happy to finally win a pot that I throw my head back and yell to the sky, yes! All part of the fun. We've got a really friendly table. Everyone's having beers and cheers and, you know, meeting everyone from Greece and stuff like that. Been a really fun night, but a bit of a frustrating one. There's lots of hands in the vlog that you guys haven't seen. Boring hands where I call a 3-bet and just check fold and stuff like that. Last hand of the session, I've got queen jack of clubs in middle position, and we've got a round of 40s on, which tells you how good the game has been. Under the gun is going to limp in. I make it $150 to go. Big blind puts in the 3-bet. He makes it $575 to go. We're only 3k effective here. I can't call this. I'm not putting in $600 with only 2,400 behind, so I just let it go. Like I say, this has been really over and over again hands like this. I'm not spewing, I'm not tilting, just bleeding a little bit. So in the end, I decide to tap the table, rack up my chips, head across to the cashier, down 2.1k here at the WSOP. And then with that loss from the Aria earlier today, it's been a really tough day. Alright guys and girls, that totally sucked today. No like brutal bad beats or sick coolers, just the slow bleed. And sometimes that's the worst way. Fortunately, there's something in this building that you can get, and it takes all the pain away of a bad losing day. Pizza!